This video is going to show you how to fix a high pressure oil leak on a 2004 60 f250. I've kind of ran it down to a high pressure oil leak. Doesn't want to start. ICB pressure was building up to like 300, needs 550 to start. So crank, nothing. Screen turns on, you can hardly see it, but the injector control pressure right there. Only hitting 300. Fortunately, this is not my first time doing this, so I'm gonna start by pulling the intake out of the way. I'm kind of located it to the driver's side. You can buy a high pressure oil test kit. If you have an 04 or later, it's easiest, but I've kind of brought it down to the driver's side just by looking at what codes I have. I have a cylinder 2 low balance contribution, or low contribution / balance code. Cylinder 2 is on the driver's side, so more than likely this is going to be an injector. These are brand new injectors from Moore and Diesel. Have not had much luck with them since I started using them. Ran great for maybe 10 miles and started running pretty bad. I've been just kind of expecting this to happen. To start with pulling the intake off, I was missing this middle part, so this is just a coupler from Home Depot. Just loosen those bands. Usually there's a bolt right there. That one's since gone. Loosen that ring on the turbo, and then you should be able to just rip all this out, unplug your map sensor. Mine's broken. This is an aftermarket intake, but it should be a relatively simple, self-explanatory process. Next thing you want to do is pull this coolant reservoir out of the way. For me, it's 2/8. I think other people might be 2/10. I just disconnect it right here and right here, and then I sling this hose over so I don't have to drain anything, and I just kind of pull it up and out of the way a little bit. Then you're gonna pull off the Fickum bracket. I leave the Fickum on there. I also, every time, do not put all the bolts back because it's a pain in the ass to reach all the way back there and fit a 10 on there, and it's just too much of a hassle. So I just take those, leave them off. Now it's easy to take off. All the valve cover bolts are 12 mil. You'll need to pull the Fickum bracket off. The oil dipstick has got a 10 mil right there. You got to pull that off. Once you get that off, you're pretty much free to go to pull the valve cover off. I've got the valve cover off. Now these oil rail bolts are a T30. I think it depends on what year your truck is, but mine are a T30. So I'm gonna go grab a T30, pull this oil rail off, and a 12 millimeter Allen is for the dummy plug and the standpipe. For if you've never replaced them before, if the person before you never replaced them before, more than likely it'll be a 1/2 drive, just a regular 1/2 drive ratchet. So I'm gonna go grab that. Next step, if you're working on a lifted truck, take the hood off. It is so much more of a pain to be leaning over, standing on the tire with your head ducked. I'm 6'3", so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. But after that, all the oil rail bolts, they're T30 for me. Pull all those out and get ready to pull the oil rail off. But just be careful if you're pulling it off where you can't get a lot of oil somewhere. Have a rag ready. I don't really care. I'll probably just throw it on my windshield at this point. This is like the 4th or 5th time I've pulled this valve cover off for relatively same issues: stand plugs, dummy pipes, injectors, whatever the case may be. This is not my first time. So pull the oil rail off and get ready for the injectors. Next step, you want to take your T40 or T45, go down to the injector hold down bolt right there, knock it out, undo the plug. It'll have this little metal clip on it right there. Just pull that out. You can pull the plug right off, and to fully pull the injector out, you have a 18 mil socket, and just kind of press on it until you feel it click. Move that socket out the way, and then wiggle the plug the rest of the way out. A similar process to get it back in. You just put it back in the hole, and I just use a pair of pliers and either pry onto the valve body and the bottom of the clip, or I'll put a pair of pliers around the wires and push up as hard as I can until I hear it click. After replacing said injector, for me in this case, I didn't actually replace it. I just put it back in. Had to get a couple pictures for Warren Diesel to send me a new one. They sent me a bad premium. Spent a lot of money, but whatever. I just have to rip it apart again when I get the new one. But after you pull it out, put it back in. I think it's torqued to 25 foot-pounds. Don't quote me. Look for it yourself. I don't torque it. I just kind of hand tight. Not hand tight, but give it my good old 1-2. But after that, put your oil rail back on. Also forgot to mention that if you're looking to do your nipple cups, that is the perfect time. Easiest way to do it, make sure you have a vise and that inverted socket tool. Just have it all ready for when you tear it apart. Nobody wants to wait to get their truck up and truck back on the road. So anything else that you need to check in here, now's the perfect time. Just finishing off my video I forgot to finish 2 weeks ago. Warren Diesel sent me a new injector. I fixed it. Truck runs great. That's just water washing out the side of the frame, looking for an oil leak. But pretty much just do everything and reverse process. It's all relatively simple, easy to figure out torque specs. I don't know them by heart, but